All right, there we go. But yeah, they stopped by. That was nice. Had some fancy foods. Only ate half of it, so there's my dinner for tomorrow. Because holy cow, they really loaded us up.
Yeah, it's hooks you up. They know what you want.
Yeah. Jonah finished all of his, of course.
Well, of course.
Made them some homemade chocolate ice cream as well today. So they had some.
Ooh, how was that?
So good. I think I impressed him. Jonah wanted a milkshake, and I'm like, buddy, I just made this earlier today. It's not going to be solid enough. He's like, we can do it. And then I pulled it out of the freezer and showed him. He's like, okay, I'll just have a bowl of it. Like, it's just going to end up being chocolate milk if I put this in a blender.
But chocolate milk, though.
Well, just melted ice cream.
Ice cream.
But it was, hopefully it doesn't put him into a sugar coma. And hopefully neither of them are particularly lactose intolerant because it's made.
Well, they're about to find out.
Whole milk and heavy whipping cream, so that'll be stepping on the gas, driving to camp. Gotta go faster. We gotta get there sooner.
But it's so good. It's not good for you, but it's good for the soul.
It is. As terrible as it is to say, when they couldn't make it Saturday, I was like, oh, good, I won't make ice cream because then I won't finish it. But then they said they're coming today. So I'm like, okay, I have to exercise self-restraint. And I didn't eat all my food, so I think I can do it. I think I can do it.
Oh, ice cream is so good, though.
It's really good. Tastes gourmet.
Gourmet, you say?
I think it's partly just because how much sugar's in it.
That's the correlation.
That and the it makes like, I think it's like a quart. It makes about the size of the the traditional store ice cream boxes,
right?
And it uses 3/4 of a cup of cocoa powder, so it's very chocolatey. It's quite good. I'll have to hopefully have you try it someday. I'm not sure how, but
not sure how. Well, I'm sure we'll figure it out. You could always mail it to me in an envelope.
Yeah, that turned out good. Cooper, just put this in the freezer when it gets to you.
You mailed me a wet envelope. Oh, I think it's chocolate flavored.
You up to anything exciting today?
Just did a lot of chores. I'm actually going to be out of state for the rest of this week.
Oh, wow.
For work, going to Colorado. So
nice.
Mostly just been getting ready for that.
Is it the hotel and telework kind of thing or no?
No, it's like a conference.
Oh,
so
that's kind of lame.
Oh no, it'll be fun. So I've never been to Colorado, so
yeah.
That will be interesting.
So you take it you won't be online in the evenings then?
No.
Shucks.
You'll
be gone.
Hotel.
Carmen will be gone.
Hey, at least you always got Derek, our good friend Derek that we talk to regularly.
Yeah, Derek.
Hey, good old Derek. What's his famous catchphrase that he's always saying, Sam?
Yimmy yam yam wazzle.
Man, what a Derek saying.
It always makes us laugh. You want to get into it?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Since it's a chunky album.
Yeah, this one's big.
All right, well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Audio Shop podcast. Today we're celebrating our very belated 3-year anniversary that both Cooper and I completely forgot about.
Okay, to be fair, I was working long days for my job.
No.
Duration of that month.
I'm saying during the month of April.
And Sam, you were super busy with
applying to jobs.
So we had our excuses.
But the fact that we didn't remember until several months later is what's...
Oh, the webs we weave.
Yeah. So it's in my phone calendar now, so we remember. But this is the very belated 3 years. And of course, on our anniversary, we got to do Gorillaz.
Of course, that's what we always do.
And we're continuing the trend of going backwards in time. Last time we did Demon Days. This time, the very first, the self-titled Gorillaz by Gorillaz.
Yeah, we're actually. I mean, we've reviewed Demon Days. We've reviewed Plastic Beach.
Mm-hmm.
We've done their latest album,
Song Machine.
Song Machine.
And of course, the Now, which was their latest album when we started the podcast. That was our very first episode.
Did we review that as well?
That was our very first podcast.
Oh, wow.
That's what
prompted
Gorillaz.
That is what prompted us.
This podcast. That's why we do it on the anniversary.
It's so long ago.
Yeah.
3 years.
Don't go listen to that episode. It's not good.
No. We are slightly better.
I like to think so anyway. Learn the art of not talking over each other a little bit.
But that also means that we're kind of running a lot of Gorillaz albums because we'll have what's left? The Fall and Humans.
I mean, I guess we've got the D-sides, right?
That's true. If we can always delve into the B-side albums. So there's hope for us yet.
Yeah, and I imagine before our next year, they're going to release whatever the singles they're doing now into an album.
They did just release a new single called Cracker Island.
Yeah.
Which is probably going to be out on their upcoming project.
Which I would hazard guess that it'll be out before April. I hope anyway. So we'll just have to see if we want to do that at the time or we want to save that for the year.
Well, we've got a whole year to decide that, Sam.
Not a whole year because it's July.
Oh, well, we've got 9 months to decide that, yeah. Sam.
But yeah.
Anything could happen in that time.
Yeah, 9 months is a long time.
Yeah, so do you want to jump right into the review? Or I guess we'll give some background to this album first.
Just a tiny bit of history, yeah.
Because we've talked about Gorillaz at length, so I won't get too into the weeds with, their whole virtual band formed in 1998 by David Albarn and artist Jamie Hewlett. Their band members are, really cartoon characters that, are the front for the actual band.
Mm-hmm.
I won't even get into how they've won Grammys, MTV Music Awards, Brit Awards. I've sold over 20 million records worldwide. But this is where it all began. Self-titled debut album, released on the 26th of March, 2001 in the UK. Actually did pretty good for a debut album. Reached number 3 in UK, number 14 in US.
That is very good for a debut.
And sold 7 million copies worldwide. So had some legs. Put them in the Guinness Book of World Records for most successful virtual band.
Which had there been a virtual band before this point?
Isn't Josie and the Pussycats considered a virtual band?
Yeah, but that was more of a TV show than an actual band, right?
I don't know. They were a band.
Yeah, all right. And then Hatsune Miku came after, and now we've got all the
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah, fuck them. They had a Christmas song. That was it until they started making those movies.
They are virtual. They are a band. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah. Just imagine, though, if you asked somebody, who's your favorite virtual band, and they said Alvin and the Chipmunks. You'd probably judge them a little bit.
I would be scared of them. Like, this is a person on the edge.
Don't push them too hard.
No. But no, it's their debut album. And I'd say that at least before Gorillaz, it's hard to find a kind of virtual or, cartoon band that's, anything more than a novelty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bordering on parody. But no, Gorillaz goes right into their this album, pumping out different genres. So I say we just jump right into it, Sam.
Yeah, let's get into it with track number 1.
Rehash. Just a funny name for a track that's your first song on your first album.
Yeah. But the thing that stuck out to me the most, because going into this, I'm pretty sure I've listened to this a couple of times before, way in the past anyway, and I forgot how 2000s early Gorillaz sounds. Right? It really gives off those early 2000s vibes, late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, it definitely pulls from kind of the 90s punk rock scene a lot. Like this song in particular gives me heavy, Beck's Loser vibes.
Yeah.
I'm a loser, baby. Just kind of with these, there's kind of, not like distorted, but kind of, muddied guitar chords.
Mm-hmm.
And these kind of slightly hypnotic, repeating stacked vocals.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on lyrically, but the structure of the vocal line with all the different singers is where the interesting comes from. And that's the thing that I think Gorillaz does very well, is they treat the vocalist as an instrument a lot of times, where instead of the front man wanting to be front and center, it's, hey, your voice sounds kind of cool. We're going to do this. We're going to stack 16 other people on top of it, blah, 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 blah. Nobody's going to understand what the heck you're saying, but it's going to sound really nice, and that's what matters.
I mean, the main singer for this band, Damon Albarn, he's already had some success in the band Blur. So it's not like this is necessarily him out to prove anything at this point.
Yeah.
And I almost see this album as more of like him, like experimenting with different sounds. He can do it kind of under this, veil of the virtual band, right? So if it doesn't work out, right, you can always go out to Blur, but him being able to kind of try on a lot of different hats. So him being front and center isn't necessarily the goal of this album.
And that's something I like that they've kept up over the years, is they certainly try on a lot of hats.
Yeah, certainly later albums get a lot more into the electronic sphere, or the hip hop sphere. This one's definitely, while it does jump around, it definitely really delves into like the punk sphere of things. Or at the very least, very alt rock, 90s alt rock.
Yeah. And it's got some, you say electronic later, it's got some fun little electronic themes in this album. This song specifically, it's got a little synth solo around 210. Which I noticed on this one, all of the electronic sounds are in the right ear, while all of the acoustic, like drums, guitar, is in the left, which was a nice, cool effect, kind of splitting the generation, so to say.
Oh yeah, it's not like these are like straight punk songs.
No.
If anything, they're, like you say, you kind of see the saplings, the seeds of kind of some different directions they end up going in the future. But those are more like kind of flourishes around their bass punk sound at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, we got track number 1. Good. You want to jump to number 2, 5/4?
Yeah, let's jump to track number 2, 5/4, which is, of course, referring to its time signature, because the song is in 5/4, which is rather unique. It kind of gives it like this bit of an off-kilter feel. Yeah,
and it's a lot harsher. It's still, because track 1 was definitely, like, oh yeah, this is kind of punky. This one is definitely punk. Much, much harsher sound. It almost sounds... I have issues with... I don't know if the sound changes all that much. Because once I get to know a band really well, I can usually tell, like, oh, that's by that band. So if you jump back to 3 years ago, Sam, and play these 2 songs and ask if they're from the same band, I don't know if I'd be able to tell you that.
Yeah, this one definitely kind of has that punchiness of the 90s grime, where it's almost like a garage rock feel, right? Right, it's like super lo-fi, low fidelity. You've got these rough vocal and like guitar chords kind of distorting around each other. Yeah, it's got a real DIY feel to it. Maybe that's your defending. Yeah.
It's an interesting song, but it knows what it is. It doesn't stick around for too long.
Yeah, especially in terms of, Gorillaz has some especially in their later discography, has some pretty high production value. Like you can tell those songs have been crafted. Well, a lot of the songs on this album have a lot looser feel. Not like approaching jam session, but like definitely closer on that end than kind of the more polished ones that you'll get later down the line.
Yeah, even later on just this album.
Yeah, even it does have that weird kind of synth beat breakdown at the last second or the last minute of the song.
Yeah. I mean, it was an interesting experiment, and I think it would have gotten a bit grating if it had gone on too much longer. But just when I was like, I think I'm done with the song, it ended.
Yeah, no, I mean, this album definitely throws around a lot of different genres, and it kind of helps to, maybe it leads to an uneven experience, but definitely kind of breaks up the different sounds.
Absolutely.
Like going into track number 3, if you're ready.
Stole the segue from me. I was going to do it.
I knew you were going to do it if I didn't. So track number 3, Tomorrow Comes Today. One of the lead singles of the album.
And this introduces us to one of the main through instruments on this album, the melodica.
Yes, it actually pops up quite often on this album. Yeah. And I want to say it does so on Demon Days as well.
I don't remember.
It's been a little bit since I've re-listened to Demon Days, yeah. But yeah, it kind of helps make a through line. Yeah, the heavy use of melodica on those bridges.
I mean,
helps to give the song a distinct feel.
It really complements their style.
Yeah, it's got this kind of it kind of helps add to that off kilter, but especially on this song where it's like got a more forlorn feel to it.
And I was thinking that they might use actual synth instead of a melodica. For anyone that doesn't know, a melodica is a keyboard that you blow into to produce the sound. So I think there's a reed, I would assume, inside that vibrates, and pushing the keys changes the tone. It looks just like a keyboard with a mouth or a hose sticking out of it, but it produces a very distinct sound.
Oh no, I looked it up and they use melodica on this album.
Yeah, I looked it up as well when it got to this. I'm like, did they use a real one? Oh yeah, they did. And you can tell in this track in particular, thank you, that you can hear some of those imperfections and just differences in the instrument, which kind of makes it sound better. Because if it was too clean, I don't know, just something about the actual instrument adds to the experience instead of the perfect notes and shifts on the synth if they had used that.
No, yeah, this is definitely, I mean, it's a pretty lo-fi, almost like trip hoppy at points kind of sound, where it kind of adds, like, I guess the imperfections are kind of part of the charm of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not super clean, but that's kind of part of its character.
And in this one in particular, there's the heavy droning bass throughout, which plays to the opposite of the high vocals and the light melodica, because the vocals are pretty high in this one.
Yeah, no, they go a little falsetto, but and I do like the little whistle break on the back end.
Yeah, whistling the melodica line. I can see why it was a single.
Yeah, no. It really sets up the darker vibe of the song.
Mm-hmm. Jump into track number 4 if you're ready.
Yes, track number 4, New Genius, parentheses, Brother. Which is, I guess it starts with like this really smoky, drummed back groove. Kind of carrying off the darkness from, Tomorrow Comes Today.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine like some kind of sad violin backing on these kind of whispery vocals.
Yeah, this one was interesting because it's got, like you said, it's got the whispery vocals, which were very extremely high falsetto. To me, this was kind of a combo of the punk genre, and it almost was like a lounge show. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That kind of singing with the backing track and all that, and then occasionally there'll be some record scratching thrown in, some more punk elements, but it kind of wavers back and forth between that live lounge show with low melodica in it and some more punky hip-hop-ish elements.
Yeah, and I think it's those this kind of blending of genres, as you say, that kind of adds to the interest of this album.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm not going to say like they're at the top of the game of any one of the genres, but they blend them in a very interesting manner that kind of, keeps you on your toes throughout this album. And I think they do it more successfully in later albums, of course, but it's kind of interesting to see the genesis of it here.
Yeah, that's fair, but I don't know if I've heard them do a lounge type song other than this one, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
Oh yeah, a lot of the songs on this album are kind of unique to the Gorillaz discography as they kind of more solidified their sound going forward.
Mm-hmm. I didn't have anything else for this one. I used it all up in my one little spiel. I got caught up in the song too much.
We can move on to the next track, and arguably one of Gorillaz' most famous tracks, Clint Eastwood.
Which is probably up there with one of the best songs they've made, in my opinion.
It is the one that put them on the map.
Yeah. Don't know why it's called Clint Eastwood. Got really nothing to do with the actor.
No, I was trying to find why they named it that, but I guess maybe they just kind of go for like the Western kind of feel.
It does have that Western vibe with the melodica. See how many times I can say melodica today.
No, this is an interesting song because like you said, the chorus and some of the bridges have like that harmonica or melodica.
No harmonica.
Just melodica.
Yeah.
But then the verses are versed by the great Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
We're introduced to him on this album, and he dies on this album.
Like, God bless him. While he was here, he spent the most time of it. Because he actually is a great feature, especially on this song. I mean, great verse. Man's got great pen game. And his kind of, his vocal delivery works on these kind of spooky, synth-backed verses.
Yeah, it's got very, very simple instrumental track throughout the whole song. It does evolve as it goes on, but starting out quite simple. On the Del the Funky Homo Sapien rap lyrics as well, there's a slight reverse reverb to kind of play up that ethereal quality. Because if you haven't seen the music video, he is a ghost who possesses Russell, the drummer of the band. And for this song, he comes out and sings. Well, raps, rather.
Yes, it's interesting how there's deep lore within the Gorillaz universe that we won't really get into since we're more lore than I'd say your average band has. But that's part of the fun of them as well.
Yeah. But yeah, it's fantastic. The rap verses are amazing. His delivery is really great. And a lot of, as I was saying before, a lot of the Gorillaz songs kind of treats voices as instruments. This one is definitely, the vocals are the focus. And everything is he's very eloquent, he's very clear, but he still has kind of a sing-song vibe to the rap. It's not kind of that monotone rapping that you sometimes see.
Yeah, no, Dill's always had a lot of character, and it pulls through on this song as well. Plus, it just has that chorus is killer.
Yeah, 2D on the chorus. My only complaint with this one is the rapping ends halfway through, and then we've got like 2.5 minutes of outro.
Yeah, so the album version is a little long in the tooth on the outro version, but I mean, it's a great instrumental.
It is, but I mean...
I do get what you're saying. It's like a little on the simple side to extend out so far.
Yeah, I think you could probably cut the final minute 40. A little bit of instrumental outro after 2D finishes singing for the final time, but a minute 40 of outro music, like, okay, that's a little... You haven't changed the backing music. You throw in a little bit of weird vocal effects in the background, but then those end at a minute 40 from the end, and it's just instrumental from there on out, and it's just a bit too long, especially since, like I said, it's a very simple instrumental.
Oh yeah, but it's a strong hook.
Yeah, no, it's a great... I love it. I will say, once the rap ends, and 2D finishes, I usually skip.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little long, but I mean, the album certainly meets its length requirement.
Yeah, that's why I'd say you could probably cut the last minute 40. The album, it's an hour and 9-minute album. You're not hurting for time, but it is meant to be an experimental album, and that's just what this experiment was.
Hey, obviously it's one of their biggest singles of all time, so obviously something worked.
Yeah. Jump to track number 6 if you're ready.
Yes, track number 6, Man Research, parentheses, Clapper. Not sure about some of these song titles,
yeah,
but
it's a little nonsensical.
Well, it's a nonsensical title for a pretty nonsensical song.
Yeah.
This one's like a odd electro synth noise thing before some pretty whack vocal delivery.
Yeah, it's got those kind of bleeps and bloops and odd noises at the start. There's a little bit of vocoder sprinkled in as well with the duetting some of the vocal lines. It's really odd. I will say, I've said it several times, the lyrics on this one, can't understand a word it's saying. It's just the sound of it.
I mean, that's always been kind of a feature of Gorillaz songs, to be honest.
Yeah, but this one in particular, it's pretty just ethereal, can't understand a goddamn word.
Not that would necessarily save this song, because it's, like I said, it's very, very light song.
Yeah.
There's the synth and the vocals, but like, it really lacks drive.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I thought it had some good building, because it starts really bare bones, and it builds up pretty good in my opinion. But it doesn't go super far. It keeps the backing track simple. The vocals are super high and ethereal. And I don't know. It was a nice little song, nice little interlude. Can't see anybody throwing this on as their favorite, but
I mean, that one of the problems I have with this album is it. I mean, like I said, they kind of took a kitchen sink approach to this album.
Yeah.
Which, fair enough. They were wanting to experiment, but there's certainly a lot that could have hit the cutting room floor, right?
Yeah.
It's already over an hour long album. I think some of the songs could have used tightening up or just cutting, such as Man Research. I don't really see why it's inclusion. Like, this is deep B-side material.
That's fair, but coming at it from their perspective, my gut kind of tells me that they were approaching this he was approaching it as, I want to make these songs. I've kind of had these bouncing around. This is more of an art piece than a commercial piece.
And those asses in Blur won't let me.
Yeah. So I'm going to do this with this band Gorillaz. If it goes well, great. If it doesn't, I can just keep it as, I can either throw away the band, or I can just keep it as this very artsy, just try different things kind of thing. Maybe it never has commercial success, but it's the music I want to make.
No, that's fair. I can respect that. I just don't think it plays out on this song.
No, I completely agree with you. I'm just being devil's advocate here.
Damon's advocate. Ew.
All right, that was your one good joke of the episode. We can end now.
Yes, and we still have 40 minutes of an album to go. Okay, on to track number 7 then. Punk, the shortest track on the album.
Yeah, this is a parody song, right?
It almost feels like, I mean, it's literally called punk.
Yeah, it definitely is a
And
parody.
it's it definitely is leaning into some of the trappings of punk. The screechy guitars, the distorted radio kind of vocals, rhythmic clapping.
Kind of vocals is accurate there. You can't understand anything. It starts with some weird bleeps and bloops, and then it gets into like some clapping and some really heavy punk guitar, and I don't know. I like it as a parody song, but thank God it's under 2 minutes.
Yeah, this is like they really had to get the punk out of their system.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just these really tinny drums, and this is very punk banded in a garage kind of mentality going on here.
It felt like they leaned super hard into the cliches. Like, all right, what else can we do to make it just the most copy paste punk band there is?
Hey, to be fair, I guess they succeeded.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah, let's go on to track number 8 because I don't got much more to say on punk.
I mean, it's a parody song. There's not much else you can.
Track number 8, Soundcheck (Gravity), which starts with like these really low key guitar strumming and like buzzing insect noises before like David Albarn's like high vocals kind of float in over them.
Very high falsetto again.
Yes, very high falsetto.
And I really enjoyed the start of this, but then it breaks into something a bit harsher. Not quite. I mean, I guess it's a little bit punky, but it's just, I don't know.
It's almost like it's basically glitch hop, with the vocal samples. It's kind of darker intonations.
And then around the 45-second mark, we get some cello coming in with some nice piano. And then it goes back into the glitch hop kind of stuff after that until the 3-minute mark, where we get a breakdown and go back to that kind of evening bug noises, high falsetto, and this time we get a little bit of violin sprinkled in as well.
Disparity, I guess, between the two.
Yeah. I kind of wish it had just been the falsetto bug sounds throughout, but
I'm not sure you could support a 5-minute song with just that.
Not 5 minutes, no. Yeah, you're right, but I want to listen to that song. That's just that kind of style, that slower, calmer song, because they don't really do a ton of that. They have, I guess, Song Machine they've started to do that.
I mean, on the now, and the fall is a lot of that. But people don't. No one listened to the fall. So
yeah, now's a bit different though. Now's slower, but it's still poppy.
Yeah, that's true.
This is I'm looking for like the folk, kind of like what we had, the lounge type music. I want to hear a lounge Gorillaz album.
Well, based on Cracker Island, that's probably not what their next project is.
No, but Cracker Island was fantastic. I can't wait for what.
Cracker Island is a good song, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, it's got interesting song progression.
Yeah. Jumps all over the place a little bit, which is a little odd, but
I think that about sums up this album.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, on to track number 9, Double Bass. The instrumental song on the album.
Yeah, this one was
almost completely instrumental.
Because it's got the it's called double bass, and of course the main instruments are an upright bass and an electric bass, just jamming out.
Which is I can't really think of another song that's done this. That springs to my mind. I'm sure it's been done before, but it's a very bass heavy song. Double the bass. It's like double chocolate,
Yeah. You got a little bit of electronica sprinkled throughout, along with some traditional synth. And then we get a great synth solo at 2:45, and I think it pops back in later on. I didn't note the time note for that. But it's just a nice little rest piece. It feels like a nice little mid-album rest. Kind of breaks everything up. Just gives you a little bit of a respite.
Yeah, this is like loading zone music.
Yeah, it's definitely not it kind of is Muzak I definitely could see this in an elevator. But
a little off kilter to be in an elevator. It's got a little darker intonation. Obviously, the upright bass and electric bass combo is like, pretty unique. And besides, like 1 minute, one section at like the 3 minute marker, like there's a little spoken word. It's all instrumental. No, it's an interesting little like half album mark, instrumental marker.
Yeah, it's a nice relaxing track. It does some interesting things. Jump to track number 10
beyond that,
already.
we can track number 10. Rock the House. Uh-oh, is that Del again? Del the Funky Homo Sapiens? What's he doing back here?
The last song before his death.
Well, I mean, he's still alive, but
Is he?
But I guess death in terms of working with Gorillaz, unfortunately.
Yeah. Which is just a shame. And I gotta say, kind of weak on this song too.
Him?
Yeah.
No, incorrect.
His rap is fine. There's something, I think it's the lyrics, something about the delivery. It just doesn't have that same impact for me as...
I mean, it's not as good as Clint Eastwood. I will agree, but I still think it's very, very good.
Oh yeah, it's still good. It's just missing a little je ne sais quoi. I can't really put my finger on it.
Oh, people just say that whenever they don't want to think about what it actually is. You don't even speak French.
You've asked me how to say je ne sais quoi at least 4 times in the past 2 weeks.
I didn't say that I knew how to spoke French. I don't even know how to speak English.
But I do really like the sampled trumpet on this one. This brings in some more of those hip hop things. They've got a lot of samples in here. The scat fluting is interesting.
Honestly, I like the scat fluting. It's pretty funny.
I can't say I'm a fan.
I like it. It's like a little off, but like enough just to like give the song character.
Yeah, it's at that point where are they trying to make it sound a little bit bad, or is that just the way they're playing?
It's a little distorted, just on purpose.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Something about Del on this one just didn't. It was missing that secret sauce.
And I'm always up for Del.
I think there just wasn't as much vocal movement as Clint Eastwood. You know what I mean? It was a little bit more.
It's a little more mellow, but
yeah, I think that's what I was missing. Because with Clint Eastwood, you see, he can really. I mean, he's rapping, but it is more akin to singing than rapping, in my opinion. And I feel like that's just missing just a little bit from this one.
You're just mad you don't have whatever it takes to rock the house.
Yep.
Here. We'll go on to the next song then. 2000.
Track 11. And this is another single.
Another single? This one's going almost for like a funk vibe. With this really ploppy synth, but of course David Albarn's low-key vocals kind of have a fun dichotomy there.
Mm-hmm.
Or he's got a very low-key delivery over this pretty animated instrumental.
Yeah, that's one way to put it, that's for sure. And again, the lyrics, you can kind of understand what's being said once you get used to his voice. But it is more of an instrument than anything else. And I'd wager that a lot of people know this, or at least have heard this song and would recognize it, but had no idea what its name was.
I mean, did they even see the numbers in the song?
No.
I guess it doesn't matter.
They don't say the name of the song in most of the songs.
But I love that part in that part of Man Research, parentheses, Clapper, when he goes, hey, shout out to all the Man Research, Clapper.
It's
my favorite part of the song. It's Morbin time.
But again, this is a track I think that holds up really well as well. I think this sounds quite similar to some of the stuff they do later. It's a bit more out there. It's got the weird electronic noises. It's got the weird vocal noises. Very consistent beat. It's got that nice bubbly feeling. It's just It's one of those experimental type songs that just hits every single check mark.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. This is kind of I guess when you're thinking of like Gorillaz, this is definitely one of the earlier examples of like really define some of this like really kind of quirky instrumental take, or it's like mixing electronica and rock and funk, and the kind of low key vocal delivery, and of course I like the female vocals as well on the I guess the chorus, if you can call it that.
Yeah. Yeah, just an all-around fantastic song. Probably not as famous as Clint Eastwood, but I might like
No, not, but I think maybe even more than Clint Eastwood, it kind of encapsulates what their sound's about.
Yeah. This is very similar to later tracks. It's kind of got the Dare vibe going on, or it's there. He was supposed to say it's there, but I think that he can't pronounce TH, so it ended up being D's.
It's Dare.
It was supposed to be it's there, but those British, they don't like saying consonants sometimes.
They don't gotta be mean about it.
I'll be just as mean as I want to. But yeah, just a great example of kind of a window into seeing. You can see what they're going to become far off in the distance through this song. A little bit of it's leaking through the glass,
and I like what it's leaking.
Yeah, can't get sick of it. I love that bubbly electronic noise. Gets me every time. Jump into track number 12 if you're ready, Coop.
Yes, track number 12, Latin Simone. Que pasa contigo?
Good job.
Thank you.
Better than I would have done.
It is definitely an interesting song because it's featuring Ibrahim Fair, a Cuban singer, which definitely gives this song a unique vibe, vocally at least.
Yeah, we got a drastic style change, guest vocalist as the lead. What is this, Song Machine?
Well, not quite. I mean, I certainly like Désolé a little bit better.
Yeah,
but
I really enjoy this. It's got a very fun Cuban and Spanish inspiration in it. It's the lead singer in this song.
Yeah, but even the instrumentation kind of leans in that as well, as you would hope it does. And yeah, I guess they do visit the sound way down the line. But I think it plays out pretty well here.
Yeah, we got a lovely little bit of muted trumpet coming in at around 110, which
I do like that muted trumpet.
Underutilized in music, if you ask me. Gotta love muted trumpet. It's such a good sound.
Quite excellent. And I like what it does here, so yeah, I'm glad they included it.
Definitely a dark horse song that I had forgotten. It's like, oh yeah, actually, yeah, this is really nice. Picking up on the B-side, which 2001 B-sides are kind of dying at this point.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't usually listen to the song either, but I do like it every time I do listen to it. So
yeah, very good. Speaking of liking songs, let's jump to track 13.
Track 13, Starshine.
It's a song.
It is definitely a song that has music and even vocals.
That's about it. Very stripped back instrumental and vocals. Most of it residing solely in the left ear, just bass and echoes in the right. There's not really any growth. It's a cool sound, but it's a 3-minute song, and it cannot carry itself for 3 minutes.
Yeah, not to say, it's not, you can't have a stripped back song, but this one is, a little too stripped back.
Yeah, if you're going to strip it back, put it in both ears at least.
Yeah, the vocals are all in the left ear.
Well,
and they're like these
too.
Oh yeah, that too. And it's very high falsetto vocals as well. Again, not necessarily a bad thing, but certainly a little. There's just not a lot going on with this song. I don't know how else to say it.
I don't have anything else to say about it. That was all.
Again, this is another one of those, like, did we really have to include this song on the album?
Did you have to make it 3 minutes as well when it has maybe a minute's worth of ideas in it?
Hardly even that,
Yeah.
It doesn't even progress past that, really.
Which is really, I say, this is the only example on that on the album, which for being a first album, pretty good for being the only example of that, but still, it was a 3-minute slog.
Yeah, no, can't say I'm a fan of this song.
Yeah.
So we will go past
the
it.
Next one.
Yes. Track 14, Slow Country.
So I will say it is a little bit similar to Starshine, but it's got some weird stuff. It's got that heavy wind noises or machinery kind of droning constantly in the background.
Yeah, it's got it's like almost electronic wind thing going on in the background. And it's got more going on than Starshine. At the very least. I mean, it's got like the kind of synth breakdown at the 45 mark, 45-second mark, and then it kind of goes into a, he's got vocals and bass as well, even though it is on the slow side.
Yeah, I do really like that synth breakdown. That's a very nice synth sound. But I am a big sucker for synth.
It's got slightly more going on.
Yeah, it lives up to its name. It's a little relaxing little piece.
Yeah, it's a little slow, but it doesn't really go anything past that.
Nice, strong, and ever-present bass.
I do like the bass on this song.
Yeah, very, very powerful. Almost takes you a little bit to catch on to that because the wind noises, having two droning things in the background, flips your brain out a little bit.
Yeah, this one's kind of a zone out song, but it's still fine enough.
Yeah, no, it's that's kind of what it's meant to be. It's not I'm going to sit down with it, I'm going to learn every lyric to the song and learn to play it. No, it's just kind of a slow country. You're sitting on the porch rocking in a rocking chair as the wind blows by. And the exact opposite of that, track number 15.
Yes, track number 15, M1A1. Which is it's a large chunk of the song is some guy yelling if anyone's there.
Hello.
Over synth.
Yeah, I gotta say, not a big fan of the shouting. It was interesting for a little bit, but it went on for way too long. But as soon as he's done shouting, though, it breaks into Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band reprise before the vocalists start playing. Did you notice that?
Does it?
It sounds nearly identical.
Like to the song?
Yeah. Like the very start of the song, before they start singing the reprise. The two guitar hits and the drums, it sounds nearly identical.
I guess the drum line, I can kind of hear it. Or it's got that really aggressive drum line. The guitar's a little more chunky, though.
It is, but it's comparing the two. It started. The guy finished shouting, and then it started doing the instrumental thing, and I expected the Beatles to come in.
No, this is not the Beatles. It's a very noisy punk sound that breaks in.
And of course, I clapped when he said the title of the song. M1A1 is one of the main lyrics of this one.
Yeah, they do say the title of the song. I assume it's about the barbecue sauce.
Yeah, okay, sure. Not the road in Great Britain.
No.
Not the M1.
That doesn't make any sense.
I assume A1, maybe that's how they number their exits. A, like they do letters, which sounds kind of
M1, A1.
Why wouldn't you just do kilometer markers like we do mile markers? But I don't know. I'm just speaking out my ass here.
Hey, it's the British. They're doing what they want to do. They're putting beans on toast. They're living their best life.
Having some mushy peas on toast. Calling things pudding that are clearly just bread.
They're custard and no, but it's a pretty fun like kind of punky song. It's really pounding forward momentum. It's got rough energy.
I will say the drums are the star of this one.
Oh yeah, some good drums on this.
Guitar's kind of nice, but man, the drums just kept me hooked throughout the whole thing. It's almost controlled chaos, it felt like.
Oh, it's a fun punk song.
Yeah, definitely steering away from the stripped back Starshine and Slow Country.
Yeah, it's obviously and then back to back, but hey, like I said, album's a grab bag.
Speaking of grab bag, if you want to jump to track 16.
Yes, track number 16, Dracula.
Which almost starts like reggae. and then it kind of gets away from that, but it sounds very reggae-like at the start of it.
Yeah, no, it definitely goes for a reggae vibe, and then kind of gets, I guess, spookier.
Well, it's called Dracula.
Which, I guess that already comes to mind, but...
I mean, there is one line from some Dracula movie in there. I don't know which one.
I guess they do say the word Dracula. No, this is just an odd song. It's like very open and airy, but also has like this distant sax and also the reggae elements of it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot going on in this stew.
Yeah, it's the bass. I would say for me, the bass carries this one. The song is kind of sparse, but doesn't feel empty, if that makes sense. But it, like several other songs on this album, it goes on for just a bit too long. I like the sound, but you could probably trim a minute off this or so. It's not like the album is suffering for length. It's an hour and 9 minutes. You can drop a minute here or there. You'll be fine.
No, it's all valuable. He has to say Dracula more.
But yeah, I kind of wish they stuck with the reggae vibe, more so than they did. But it kind of stuck around in the bass just a little bit.
Fine song. I mean, this song, the next song, and the last song are all kind of, I guess, unique to the U.S. release of this album. This is on the U.S. standard version.
Okay.
So I don't believe it's on the UK standard version. So maybe that helps. Why maybe it's a little more B-sidey. But you could say that about a few songs on this album. So
yeah, this is definitely stronger than some of the ones that were on the full release, I'd say.
Yeah, at least it's interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of interesting.
Yeah, track number 17, Left Hand Suzuki Method.
Yeah, which starts with a bong hit.
As any good song does.
And then it goes punk, and then just fucking all over the place.
It's like Japanese spoken word.
Is it Japanese?
I believe so.
Okay. Well, you know Japanese, so I'll take your word for
it. No, they're saying Japanese words, so I assume it's Japanese.
I didn't know. I couldn't place the language. But you got some violins and piano in there playing a song I swear I've heard before.
Yeah, I couldn't place it either.
Is it like a nursery rhyme or like a country song or something?
I was trying to figure it out, but I couldn't place it in my head. It's just a very odd progression because it's got that like violin nursery rhyme section over like these honky tonk pianos, which of course follows up very chunky ass guitar riffs.
Yeah,
and the Japanese spoken word. This song is just it's a whole thing.
Yeah, because they say the same thing in Japanese as they do in English? Because the lady speaks Japanese and then says something in English, and I don't know if it's the same line being said in both languages.
I don't believe it was the same thing. Okay. It's kind of hard to understand what she's saying.
Come on, Cooper, aren't you fluent yet?
No. Ohio.
You've been doing all this damn studying. You're not even fluent in language. What are you doing?
I was listening to the music. Not everybody's good at everything. No, this is a weird song.
It's an odd one. I can't say I love it, but I can't say I hate it.
No, man, I don't say I dislike it.
Yeah, it's an interesting song.
It just goes in like a million different directions.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. The bong hit was a little too close to the mic as well. That was a little wet.
It's funny though.
It was. When I figured it out what it was, I was like, okay, that's kind of odd. Wonder what this song's gonna do. And then jumping to the final track, if you're ready.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Clint Eastwood again.
Clint Eastwood, the remix with Ed Case and Sweetie Irie. Or speaking of reggae, kind of goes into it here.
Yeah, and it's not a remix; it's a refix.
Okay, tomato.
My first thought was, what is this? The end of Shrek 2?
Why was that your first thought?
Well, because there's I Saw Her Face remix for the credits of Shrek 2.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, why do we need a remix of the exact same song on the same album? But I will say I really enjoy the rap replacement in this. Very interesting vocals. I like them.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a Jamaican, kind of vocal take. I'm not gonna say I like it as much as Dell.
Mm-hmm.
Dell's excellent rap verse. But it's definitely, it definitely changes it up enough to be different.
Yeah, I mean, the only similarity in this one is there's the similar main beats and 2D's vocal lines. Other than that, it's a completely different song.
Even those are pretty sped up.
Yeah. No melodica either, which was a big part of the first song, or the original. So I probably could have just tweaked a couple of things and made this a whole different song, but fair enough.
I still quite like it though. I mean, still, Clint Eastwood. It's still fun.
I enjoy it. It's a little sparse in the back end, I will say, but it's not as long in the tooth as the original, so I'll give it a pass.
Yeah, no. It actually shortens it up a bit for its benefit.
Yeah, it's nice and tight.
But yeah, no. Good song, I'd say.
Yeah, good way to close out the album.
And that's it. That's all of Gorillaz.
Yeah. Just going for about just the same length of the album at this point. So Cooper, what would you say your least favorite song in the album is? Because I imagine we're going to be the same.
Least favorite, I have to say it's probably tied between Man Research and Starshine.
Starshine.
Both are pretty bad, not gonna lie. Just not a lot going on with those two songs.
Yeah.
That could have easily just been left out of the lineup for this album. Not really sure why they were included. Yeah, they're just a bunch of a nothing, honestly.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on Starshine. That was my least favorite. Man Research, it was a weaker song, but I enjoyed it enough. Starshine was really the only one that stuck out to me. Maybe Slow Country as well. I wasn't the biggest fan of that one. I think the only thing that saved it, though, was that fantastic synth that they had in there a couple of times. And I'm such a sucker for synth that I can't speak that ill of it. So, Starshine is definitely the weakest on the album.
Well, what about your favorite song then?
I'm gonna be a basic bitch, and it's absolutely Clint Eastwood. This is one I still routinely throw on in the car. I've got the rap memorized by heart. I can do the whole thing. All the 2D lyrics. Just great song. Just all around good song. Except for the last 2 minutes. I skip the last 2 minutes every time because, goddamn, it does not need to be a 5-minute song.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so long in the album version, but I'm in agreement. Clint Eastwood. Also, really like "Rock the House" in 2000. Their singles on this album are excellent. Yeah. Excellent single game. Yeah, well, I guess we've reached the end. We've done all the reviews. All that's left is to rate the album, Sam. So why don't you tell us about our rating system?
Yeah, sure. So here at Audio Shop. Sorry, what was that?
The name of our podcast is Audio Shop.
Yeah. Here at Audio Shop, we like to rate our albums to give you just kind of a feel of whether or not you should listen to them. And we went with the classic frog rating system.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you go out to purchase a frog, and they're given a certain grade. You've got your frogs that are up on the shelf behind the register. Those are your showrooms, cream of the crop, best of the best. They got to unlock the little box. You take it out, let you inspect it. You have to wear the gloves, of course. and then you walk away with your purchase. And then, of course, at the very bottom, you got Scrapyard. That's the muddy bin at the front of the store that's just got hundreds of frogs crawling over each other. Most of them have odd numbers of limbs and eyes, and just very painful to look at. So that's kind of what we based our rating system on. Of course, we got the like new, the used rental, all that kind of stuff in there. High and low, depending on our mood.
And you're probably thinking, well, I've gotten a frog, and they didn't use this rating system. And I'm sorry to tell you, but that was probably a toad then. It's a completely different rating system.
Yeah, you were sorry to report you probably got ripped off. Any frog warehouse worth their snuff uses this list. So that's how we rate our albums. So Cooper, what would you rate Gorillaz by Gorillaz?
Oh, it's a bag. I'm not gonna lie. It's got a lot of great stuff, especially for a debut album. I mean, each one of their singles is fire. But there's also a lot of fat that could have been trimmed. Mm-hmm. Not even mentioning the least favorite. There's some songs in here that are just, straight skips. Or, maybe they have an interesting idea, but, it's not really executed as well.
Or it's an interesting idea that goes on for 5 minutes too long.
Yeah, or it's an interesting idea that lasts too long. Or, certainly an album that felt like they were trying to squeeze everything into one. I mean, obviously they're still making music, so they had legs that carried them forward. But this album certainly isn't the tightest experience, and I think that shows. So I'll probably have to go with a high fixer-upper. It's by no means a bad album, but I think in terms of like just the straight listening through experience, you definitely see some areas where cracks were formed or like that they did better in the future. It's kind of interesting going back to seeing how the Gorillaz did it right at the beginning, kind of which paths they decided to, go down, which were kind of like, just little, tributaries that kind of dead-ended and never really left this album. So it's definitely interesting from that perspective. But, there's a lot of songs that could have been cut. I mean, I think it's generally better than it's not better, I'm giving it a high. But, I can definitely see why, some of these songs could take you out of it.
Yeah.
What about you, Sam?
I'm going to have to agree with you on that. Overall, I still think it's worth a listen. Maybe not straight through. Definitely no additions here, I think, to the album experience. It is just a collection of songs. So I would pick and choose what you listen to. I mean, of course, listen to the singles. Those are fantastic. But there's some really good hidden dark horses on there as well. Like I said, the Latin Simone. So I would give it a listen. If you like the sound of a song and then get halfway through and change your mind, don't feel bad about skipping, because it's probably 2 minutes too long anyway. So, but this is one of those ones where I think my judgment's a little bit clouded just because of how much I like Gorillaz. So I would say give it a listen, but with that little asterisk of you're probably going to skip a couple of songs.
No, fair enough. I think we're in agreement on this one, Sam.
Yeah, all around. I will say, even with the bad ones, I didn't really get bored. It was a good time throughout.
Yeah, this album definitely keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. Well, that's the album, and that's the show. Now we're going to roll on over to our spare tire, which is just whatever else we've been listening to this week. Did we do? Yeah, we did a show last week. Yeah, okay.
We did.
So it has been a week this time. So what have you been listening to, Coop?
I haven't actually been listening to too much this last week. Been a little busy. I mean, I've been catching up on Fleet Foxes and Tim Bernadis since I saw them live. Been going through their back catalog. But beyond that, kind of sticking with some old classics. I guess listening to Gorillaz has kind of put me in a nostalgic mood. So I've kind of been going through my old playlist and playing through that, listening there. But those are bands I've talked about at length. So I won't get into too many details there, but I guess it's been maybe a more reflective period during this last week. A look back to a look forward, some would say. What about you, Sam?
Delve back into a little bit of Traveling Wilburys. Listen to the new Gorillaz single, of course. Yeah, no, like you said, I haven't listened to all that much recently. For some reason, looking at Spotify, though, with my trending albums for you, 3 of the 8 of them are Ringo Starr albums for some reason. I don't think I've ever listened to Ringo Starr, so
it's all that traveling Wilburys.
probably. I do talk about Ringo a lot, but
The algorithm's picking up on it.
I guess. But yeah, just kind of catching up on some podcasts. I'm behind on a lot of those. One thing I did forget to mention last week for the spare tire was I went and listened to Hail, the Cassiopeia album. That 2 of my favorite songs from their Asian Dreamer album were on, and I gotta say, the remix or the re-record much better than the original. The Hail was pretty good overall, but just the sound was a little bit harsher, not as refined. It was interesting. I need to go through more of their discography.
You are quite the fan of them, and they've definitely got a deep discography.
Yeah. Well, how many of those are compilation albums?
That's true.
It was like 20 of them, right? So,
I'll leave it that.
But yeah, I need to do some more of that. But I haven't been doing too much music listening at work. I've been working in the back where I can put it on Red Letter Media. So I started way back on the Half in the Bag series, and I'm going up from like fucking 50 to current. So
that series is so great.
yeah, it's really good.
Finally, I can learn about some Milwaukeeans' opinions on the movie Jack and Jill from 2009.
Okay, I didn't start with that one. I started a little bit later, but
okay,
it's fun seeing their, and part of what got me into them recently was I went through their whole Picard thing because some of the Twitch streamers that I watch mentioned. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't want to watch Picard, so I watched through Red Letter Media. I was like, oh, I've been on a Red Letter Media kick. I should watch that. I wasn't even thinking about doing their Picard stuff.
They're not fans.
No. Well, it's the reason I enjoy them so much is Mike had a very similar view on Next Generation as I do. Although it sounds like Picard might have killed that, sadly. So very glad I haven't watched any of New Trek, which kind of cemented my opinions of it before I had seen it. So yeah.
Hey, save you some time.
Yeah. But this isn't our Star Trek Next Generation podcast. It's coming soon.
No.
Where I force Cooper to watch all of the Star Trek, starting from original series all the way up through the end of Enterprise.
Oh my god.
I won't make you watch the movies, just the original series movies.
Wow, thank you.
It'll be called Music in the Stars.
Have a little image of Picard playing that flute thing of his or whatever.
Exactly. That'll be the thing in the middle of the screen. But if you're interested, Cooper, I'll go through and watch all of Star Trek with you if you want.
I have been trying to watch some of the Next Generation, to be honest, but so I'm not ready to dive into the original series. That's a little too dated, but I'd be willing to watch some.
It's campy.
Some
fun
TNG.
Is what it is.
I will a little too campy.
It'll
be
kind of hard to go back to original series after seeing Next Generation.
Oh, that says more about it than me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a sign of the times. How future proof can you make a TV show made in the '60s?
I mean, how future proof can you make special effects in the '60s?
Yeah,
not very apparently.
Most of the aliens are just animals with horns or people in masks. So.
I'm just people with things on their forehead.
Yeah, well, that's all of Star Trek.
That's all of Star Trek, I guess. All right, I think we'll end it there then, Sam.
Yeah. It's been a very good look back. Very late anniversary.
Hey, we get there when we get there.
We'll try to be on time next year. I've got a reminder on my phone, so we'll remember. Honestly, I'm just counting down to the 5-year anniversary. I can't wait. I've got a little something I cooked up there that I'm.
Hey, we're halfway there.
Yeah. Gonna have to buy some stuff for that. Gonna have to purchase a camera. That's the big one. So look forward to that. We should still be doing it by then, if the world hasn't ended. Hopefully. So yeah, this has been the Audio Shop Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you've liked what you've heard, you can scroll down on Twitch, and there's a picture of a dude with aviators and curly hair. That's Jeff Lynne. He's your Lord and Savior, and he'll take you to our YouTube channel, where all the past episodes, minus the one Supertramp Lost to Time episode, are stored, and you can listen at your heart's content. And if you're on YouTube, you can go to the description, go to our Twitch. We're live usually every Sunday at 8 p.m. Are you good for next week, Coop?
Should be good for next week.
Okay, I should be good as well. I'm going to Chicago on Saturday, but I should be back in the evening. So I should be good for Sunday.
You're going to be good with that?
Yeah. I'll be fine. It's just the one day. And what about our Twitter, Cooper?
Well, you can always follow us at AudioShopPod. That's POD. And we'll let you know when we're listening to albums and when you can join in to watch us review them. So give us a follow there, and we'll give you a little sneak peek into what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, you can listen.
And if we disappear for a month, you can know that we're not there.
Yeah, that too. Listen to the album first, and then listen to us talk about it, and realize that wait, these chuckle fucks don't know what they're talking about.
This is even a music. This was an hour and 9 minutes of dead noise.
This is just an hour of construction noises, and they called it music.
Hey, different genres strike different people's fancies.
Yeah. Whatever floats your goat.
Right. Exactly.
Well, thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you next time.
See you later, shoppies.
See ya.